For the annotated bibliography project, I looked at gaming applications as information literacy tools, and how teachers and instructors use platforms like Kahoot to both teach and assess the information literacy understandings of students. I focused on Kahoot both because it was the focus of our group project earlier in the semester and because it was one of the platforms that kept emerging in reviewing the literature for gaming as educational tools. But first, for those of you that might not remember, let's take a brief look at the general quiz functions in Kahoot, as this is the feature most used by most instructors. If users go to www.create.kahoot.it and sign in, you can view the previous Kahoots that you have made, or you can create new quizzes. But for the purposes of this presentation, I just wanted to demonstrate the competitive nature of the quizzes and how the speed of student answers factors into play in the game. The reason I wanted to demonstrate this was because in the literature review, these two aspects of Kahoot drew the most negative criticism from users and instructors. Okay, so you can see here on my page, I've made a couple previous Kahoots here on the right side. Let's click on just one of them, and it'll open up. We could click play and practice. It will ask us to put our name in. And one of the things I wanted to show you with this little demonstration is that depending on how long you take to answer the questions determines your placement in the final assessment. So we're going to take some time before we answer the question and see how we fare. So you can see we've gotten the question right. It took us quite a bit of time. And you can see because of that, we ended up in third place, even though we got the question right. So later in the presentation, we'll address some of those issues with having to hurry through answering questions and the competition of Kahoot in a more general sense. However, many instructors, the number of which has increased during the pandemic, have come to realize that the gamification of learning environments has created increasingly diverse ways to assess student competencies in educational material and have provided instructors with new ways of addressing information literacy issues. Some of the more interesting developments that were discovered while doing the review of the literature were the increase of collaboration and cooperation in large groups and in individual behavior. And Kahoot had the effect of creating more awareness and focus regarding information dissemination in lecture sessions. Instructors who often use Kahoot reported that student attention during classroom lectures where the students knew there would be a Kahoot quiz following increased dramatically. However, in one paper entitled "The Implementation of Digital Assessment Tool Kahoot in Elementary School," made note of some of the problems I mentioned previously with Kahoot in elementary classrooms, where they illustrated some of the results of the study. And in this particular study, 23 students were selected by a random sampling method using a descriptive analysis model for the research design. The results were mostly positive and provided immediate assessment scores for the student and the instructor, which allowed for the evaluation of specific issues students were having with particular information. Additionally, Kahoot developed careful reading skills and provided students with the motivation to be more careful students and commanding attention during lectures. However, several features of Kahoot were given negative assessments by instructors, and these were based on the competitive nature of Kahoot, which some say created division and tension at times between students. The other negative appraisal had to do with the speed at which awards are given out in the quizzes. The faster students answer questions, the better they do. But instructors expressed concerns that this promoted wrong answers by students not having enough time to properly think about the questions. One of the most interesting things found in the review of the literature is that the popularity of Kahoot in higher education. While the critiques about the competitive nature seem common in K through 12 environments, the evaluation from university professors and students was across the board positive, perhaps because the environment is based on competition. A great number of health sciences and medical school programs utilize Kahoot with high rates of success. A paper entitled Technology-Enabled Formative Assessment in Medical Education, a pilot study through Kahoot, used a new pedagogical approach to educational assessment by utilizing technological applications to drive assessment and student advancement through immediate feedback available through applications like Kahoot. The study reported that this pilot study has promising outcomes in the process of learning subject knowledge and feedback, which can be achieved through Kahoot directly. In closing, Kahoot offers many valuable educational tools, and the digital assessment and instant feedback allows students to compete better in competitive environments, either in individual or group settings. This situation allows both students and instructors the opportunity to allow for problems that might arise to be dealt with in the educational paths of students. For these measures, the survey of the literature suggests that Kahoot can be productive towards this end.